Our top story first. A heavy downpour in Wayanad has triggered a major landslide, striking the under-construction Kozhikode-Wayanad twin tunnel project in Kerala. The incident has meant that workers remain trapped under the debris, even as many others are also injured. A massive rescue operation is presently underway at the site of the tragedy. The landslide occurred near the Meenakshi Bridge at Kallari, close to Meppadi, after a portion of the hillside gave way amid heavy monsoonal rainfall. The incident has put Wayanad under the spotlight, especially as it comes barely 2 years since the deadly 2024 landslide which killed as many as 300 people. The recent tragedy, in fact, takes place merely a few kilometers from the site of the 2024 landslides. Remember, the tunnel project is a key infra initiative designed to improve connectivity between Kozhikode and Wayanad. Rescue efforts are presently underway, even as teams from the NDRF, Fire and Rescue Services and the police continue search and rescue operations. My colleague Arpita sent us this report.
A landslide has occurred again in Wayanad today, just some time back. How many people are trapped in that area is still unknown. NDRF team has reached the location and rescue operations have begun. Not just NDRF team, fire rescue team has also reached the location. In fact, NDRF team from Wayanad and NDRF team from Calicut is currently going to Wayanad there, and both the teams together will hold a rescue operation there. More details are still awaited, but what the Agriculture Minister T. Siddique has said is that this landslide is not a natural landslide. It is a man-made landslide because there was a tunnel work that was undergoing there where the landslide has happened. So there was a lot of sand that was put there for the work. So the minister is saying they had initially given a warning saying that that should be removed because Wayanad is a place where such natural disasters keep occurring. So since it is a monsoon season and it is raining constantly, government officials had initially warned them, but there was no action taken, because of which now this landslide has occurred, and that is why the minister is calling it a man-made landslide rather than a natural landslide. So more details are awaited. Meanwhile, NDRF officials have started the rescue operations there.
Shifting focus to politics next, the Supreme Court has pulled up the DMK over what it called an attempt to drag political disputes into the courtroom. Hearing a plea linked to the Karur stampede case, the apex court questioned the opposition party's request to restrict Tamil Nadu Chief Minister's Vijay's visits and public statements, asking, and I quote, "Do you want us to regulate a Chief Minister's visits?" The bench also wondered how a constitutional court could dictate where an elected Chief Minister can go or what he can say. Following the court's sharp observations, the DMK went on to withdraw its plea. Now, the development is the latest flashpoint in the political battle between the ruling TVK and the DMK in the opposition over the Tamil Nadu government's handling of the Karur stampede, which took place last year, and its ensuing aftermath. Moving on, WeWork India is doubling down on South India as demand for premium flexible workspaces continues to surge, particularly from global capability centers and larger enterprises. The company has added 3 new centers across its portfolio in Bengaluru and Hyderabad, taking its latest expansion to more than 3.9 lakh square feet and over 6,200 desks. Now, 2 of the new centers are in Bengaluru at Embassy Tech Village on Outer Ring Road and Whitefield, while the third is in Hyderabad's High-Tech City. With these additions, WeWork India now operates across 8 cities with over 1.21 lakh desks, nearly 3/4 of which are occupied by enterprise clients. Hyderabad in particular has emerged as a key growth market. The city now has 6 operational centers with occupancy touching around 98%. GCCs, meanwhile, account for more than half of all occupied desks in the city of Hyderabad, while managed office demand is also accelerating, buoyed by a recent 2.5 lakh square feet deal with T-Mobile. Now, this expansion underscores the continued appetite from multinational firms and GCCs from premium managed office spaces across South India's major tech hubs. So joining us now to discuss this blueprint is none other than Karan Vilvani, MD and CEO at WeWork India. Karan, good to have you with us here on South Central. My first question to you, you've added 3.9 lakh square feet across Bengaluru and Hyderabad. What are you seeing on the ground that's giving you the confidence to keep expanding when many believed hybrid work not very long ago would actually permanently reduce office demand? What's changed since then, Karan?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we had a penny or a dollar for every time everyone counted office demand out, I would have never had to raise any funding in my journey. But I think the demand continues to stay strong. The demand drivers across the business, from all segments, whether it's smaller businesses, mid-size, large businesses, and GCCs across the country continue to drive demand. But the southern markets have always been, extremely strong. And today, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Chennai, this triangle is really proving to be, really where all of the growth is, or a large part of the growth in the country is happening. And so the expansion, is really just to cater to that. We're sitting on very high occupancies currently in Hyderabad, I think over 90%. Bangalore continues to be a large market, and Chennai is also growing. So a large part of our expansion this year is in these three markets that we've already sort of like embarked on.
Right, so let's take a look at the numbers, Karan. Over 74% of your desks are presently occupied by enterprise clients, and GCCs account for more than half of your occupancy in Hyderabad alone. Has WeWork India effectively transformed from a startup co-working brand into an integrated enterprise workspace company?
I think, the way that we look at it is to try to be business enablement across, segments of businesses. It obviously, naturally is that the larger enterprises drive a big part of both employment, growth, expansion within real estate. And we're really catering to that entire segment and have been really from the start of our business. But post-COVID, you're right, the adoption from large enterprises has accelerated so much that it just sort of ending up with a higher percentage of our business. And I think this is something that will carry on for the foreseeable future. In the last 2 years, we also, expanded our managed office business, which is now like 25% of our business, which is purely for large enterprises. And, Hyderabad specifically is becoming a GCC hub. I think it's the next alternative to Bangalore, and people are moving there because of talent, because of cheaper rentals than what you're seeing in Bangalore. So it is definitely picking up, and high tech city specifically within Hyderabad is a very strong micro market right now with low vacancy. So we see a lot of growth in the coming years across that city.
Right, you speak about Bengaluru in comparison to Hyderabad, but the fact is that with Hyderabad already nearing 98% occupancy, if Hyderabad and Bengaluru were perhaps to square off in a race for which of these two markets are growing the fastest when it comes to GCCs, how do those numbers stack up between both Hyderabad and Bengaluru at this time and place?
I think Bangalore is just much further ahead from a talent pool and concentration already. So it's going to be a while before Hyderabad gets to that level, but it is a very, very good alternative. So today Bangalore is really GCC capital of the world, in my opinion, has been that for the last almost 30 years now, since the early 2000s. So there is a scale difference and there's a talent pool difference, but Hyderabad is on its way and is definitely growing faster. The government is also, I think, quite favorable and trying to bring businesses in to the state, which I think Bangalore needs to really get on top of a lot more. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of catching up to do, but it is a good alternative.
Right. So what's getting larger corporations increasingly drawn towards managed offices over traditional long-term leases? Now, I'm not for a moment suggesting that these long-term leases are dying out, but the fact is you're seeing a whole lot of interest in recent times in the managed workspace section. And this even as you yourselves have signed a 2.5 lakh square foot managed office space deal with none other than T-Mobile. What's gotten these companies to move away from long leases and more towards managed workspace verticals?
Yeah. So I think, again, a lot of it comes back to the talent workforce and this change of style in ways that companies are operating today, right? Like we just did a study with Redseer around the impact of AI and its implications on businesses and workspaces. I think one interesting fact over there was that today only I think something like 30% of businesses can even plan 5 years or 10 years out, right? Most businesses are only able to basically plan 3 years out. Business cycles are a lot more dynamic. The way that businesses are growing is a lot more dynamic. Technology is playing such a big part in operations. And then post COVID, giving flexibility, hybrid working, having your office really, sort of like this spread out across the city rather than concentrated in one HQ is all leading to companies, really coming to a certain percentage of their workforce being a lot more, flexible. And that's the portion that, they're using managed offices or flex operators like us to be able to kind of, facilitate. So anywhere between 10 to 30% of the, companies' workforces are hybrid in some way, or teams are, growing like much faster than the real estate can, really keep up with it.
Right, you keep talking about Bengaluru, in our conversation, but the fact is that the city continues to find itself at the center of any debate or discourse, especially for its traffic and infra issues. In fact, more recently, Infosys co-founder Chris Gopalakrishnan described how he was stuck, in a 31-kilometer long commute across 2.5 hours. Now, are these becoming real constraints in terms of corporate expansion? And are you seeing your clients actually move and spill over into nearby cities like Hyderabad and Chennai as a result of these infra challenges in Bengaluru?
Yeah, I think every city has its challenges. Bangalore, definitely has grown at a pace where the infrastructure, needs to catch up to. And I think the government now is like finally doing a lot, kind of around that. But I think that is leading to companies looking at other cities and trying to maybe hedge their bets, in different pockets as well. But the talent concentration right now in Bangalore, still continues to be extremely strong. Bangalore is the highest absorption city of real estate globally, has been the case for, close to like last decade itself. And that is really like, really again, testament to the type of people coming here for the climate, for, the quality of living, and also the opportunities that they have. Because if they don't, or they leave a particular job or particular company, the options that they have, are so much more than any other city, that you can actually move, between organizations in the similar industry a lot better. But I think these newer cities like Chennai and Hyderabad are also being very industry specific in terms of the type of GCCs that are being set up. So Hyderabad, has become a pharma capital because Novo Nordisk had set up a large GCC that expanded to other, companies like Sanofi, etc. And so it's become a big hub for pharma. Chennai is, a lot of automotive and tech kind of GCC setting up there. So I think there's some amount of like industry, specialization, industry talent pools also that drive a lot of this.
Talk about city-specific focuses when it comes to verticals like pharma in Hyderabad, tech in Bengaluru, and manufacturing in Chennai. But if you were to look at pure demand itself, which sectors within GCCs are leading demand today? Is it AI, semiconductors, pharma, manufacturing, financial services? Which of these are leading the way? And how different are their individual workspace requirements when it comes to a deal as far as shared workspaces are concerned?
So I think tech still continues to be a big driver. And when we're talking about tech, it's not IT services, right? This is global tech, global products that are basically being built out in India. Today, we're seeing banking and BFSI being a big driver across the country. And also the spends from these companies have, increased drastically over the last few years. What we used to deliver at maybe, $40 a square foot today, these companies are asking for $120 a square foot spends. These are, high amenity led spaces and high spec workstations, high spec cafeterias, really trying to give these employees the best experience because they are delivering high quality spaces for high quality products for these companies. The new entrants that we're really seeing, media being a big part of it, professional services, another big entrant in adopting Flex, and then actually a lot of domestic businesses now starting to come to us and adopting this model, which took a little while for Indian companies to really, be open-minded about using Flex. That is also changing today. So we see that domestic is going to drive a big part of the demand also moving forward.
Before we end, I'd have to ask you to look into your crystal ball into the next 12 to 24 months. Where do you see the next big opportunity for WeWork in South India? Is the growth story still going to be carried on in Bengaluru and Hyderabad? Or do you see the emergence of cities like, let's say, Kochi or Coimbatore, or even Vizag for that matter, Google's new home as far as data centers in India are concerned, to actually enter the conversation and become a big part of this conversation when it comes to shared workspaces?
Okay, I think the bet for us still continues to be top eight metros. We think that this is where depth of the market is and scale is possible, and also quality of assets, quality of customers continues to be the strongest within the top eight cities. Yeah, I don't want to label tier two or knock off any city. I think if the demand and the supply drivers are strong, we will enter any of these newer cities that come about. But I think in the next 12 to 24 months, it's still the top eight cities, and we keep rotating the distribution of expansion depending on how much we have available, what's our occupancies, and the demand that we're seeing. I think Pune is another big market, which is outside of the southern markets we spoke about, that will drive a big part of the demand in the next 12 to 24 months. And we have some expansion coming up there also in the next few quarters. So top eight cities is my bet, continues to be grade A, premiumized spaces, and quality real estate, quality tenants will continue to drive this market.
Well, we'll leave it there then. Karan, Vilvani, thank you so much for joining us with your insights on South Central. Moving on, it's a major milestone for the TVS Motor Company. The company's flagship performance motorcycle brand, the TVS Apache, has crossed 7 million global customers just over 2 decades after its debut in 2005. Now, what's particularly significant is the pace of growth. The brand has added its last 2 million customers in just 2 years, thereby reflecting strong demand in both domestic and international markets. Today, Apache motorcycles are sold across more than 90 countries, cementing TVS's position as a global performance biking brand. Meanwhile, a political row has erupted in Tamil Nadu after a video of industries minister Keerthana Sampath interacting with a government school student during an inspection went viral. In the video, the minister is seen demanding that a young female student speak only in English before going on to correct the student's language. The opposition has accused the minister of embarrassing the student by asking her to speak in English, thereby triggering criticism on social media, along with allegations that the minister had in fact mocked a government school student. Now, responding to the controversy, Keerthana strongly rejected the allegations, saying that she herself, being a product of a Tamil medium government school, is in fact, quote unquote, still learning English. She said that people mocking her language were in effect mocking the confidence of millions of Tamil medium students, many of whom still do not quite speak English as fluently. The minister also added that the viral clip was recorded by the media and not by her, and insisted that her goal was to ensure that government school students can confidently take on opportunities anywhere across the world.
இப்போ இவங்கள்ட்டேயுமே நம்ம டைரக்டா ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்குறேன். அவங்களால சிம்பிளான இதுதான், அவங்க அப்பா என்ன பண்றாங்கன்னா நம்ம கேட்போம். அதுவே வந்து ஆன்சர் பண்ண முடியும்.
போயிட்டு சொல்லுடா, உனக்கு தெரிஞ்சதை சொல்லு. பாட்டிஸ்பேட் கேட்கறாங்க.
நீங்க ஒரு கான்வர்சேஷன் இங்கிலீஷ்ல கிளியரான சென்டென்ஸ் கேட்க சொல்லல அப்படின்னா ஃபாதர் என்ன பண்றாங்க?
ப்ரொஃபஷன்
நீங்க லாஸ்ட் பெஞ்ச்ல
Shifting focus to the energy space next, renewable energy firm Sunshore Energy has secured a 262 crore rupee project financing for its 75 megawatt open access solar project at Iliyangudi in Tamil Nadu. Now, the funding is being led by Dutch Development Bank FMO, with Axis Bank contributing around 71 crore rupees, marking FMO's first investment in India's group captive commercial and industrial renewable energy space. The project will supply clean power to commercial and industrial consumers across Tamil Nadu through the open access route, helping businesses reduce their carbon footprint while strengthening the state's renewable energy capacity. Meanwhile, the BJP has alleged that Telangana's ruling Congress government is interfering in the ongoing Special Intensive Revision or SIR of electoral rolls. Senior BJP leader, that's Shashidhar Reddy, claimed that the party has flagged multiple concerns with the state's chief electoral officer, alleging the revision process is being influenced by the Congress government in Telangana. Reddy also alleged that the names of illegal infiltrators have been included in the electoral rolls in the Maheshwaram Assembly constituency and demanded a transparent verification process. Remember, these are all claims that the BJP leader in Telangana has made, even as the SIR exercise in the state began on the 15th of June with a draft of electoral rolls due to be published on the 31st of July, with the final rolls scheduled to be published by the 1st of October. And with that, we've reached the end of our bulletin today. Thanks so much for watching South Central. We'll be back tomorrow with more news and updates from South India. For the moment, it's goodbye from us.